restate that exactly as you were doing it because it sounded fantastic. Go ahead, Claude.
I'm still not seeing it.
We
Hello.
are live.
Good morning.
Okay.
Take
Nope.
2.
I still not
Okay.
seeing it.
Still not seeing it?
I'm not. No.
Hang on. Oh no, it's coming up now. Sorry for that, ladies and gentlemen, and everyone
There it
else.
is. There we are.
Good morning,
Okay.
good afternoon, good evening, good night for everybody who's watching us around the world. We've got an exciting show up ahead today. We've got a special guest. You'll also note that one of our regulars is not with us tonight. He's got some personal issues to deal with. We've put him in the naughty corner for having his hand in the cookie jar. So we won't have Shannon here tonight, unfortunately. But in his place, we have John, and we've also got everyone else on the regular team. I thought I'd get Claude to introduce our special guest. So fire away, Claude.
Okay. Good morning, everybody. A while back, I was aimed at Mike's channel by somebody else, and got to watching his model building and was really impressed. He was doing some trestles at the time, and I was just really impressed on how he does it. He likes the history end of it, which is what I like too, and he's modeling basically what I'm modeling, which is the Colorado narrow gauge. But I was also impressed with how he does his live streams and stuff, showing how he's working on stuff, but he's constantly talking, even though he's not watching the chat all the time. But he's very informative in that regard, and lets you know how the kits are, where they come from, how hard they are to build, that sort of thing, and then does a pretty comprehensive job of putting all that information together on the screen for you. But anyway, we've got him here today, and if you haven't seen him before, go check out his channel because he does some really good work. Anyway, Mike, you want to tell them a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, so Claude said there'd be donuts. That's the only reason why I'm here.
Yeah.
So
Where's the donut?
I've been doing videos for a while, and about 2 years ago, I decided when I was going to get back into model railroading pretty heavy. Everything I did, I was gonna document. So I did some rail fanning at first, then I did some modeling at first, and then I finally decided that I was just going to document all the modeling. So I come from a history background. That was my degree in college, my first one, and I have always been interested in military history, railroad history, a lot of different topics. So I try to preface everything I do with some sort of historical context. And I do a bunch of freelance structures too, and those are usually not for me because everything I do is very historical based. So a lot of Denver and Rio Grande Western, a lot of Rio Grande Southern stuff. Lately I've been looking into some Silverton railroads too in that general area, Silverton, Colorado, but it's all basically Colorado based. So all my videos are projects that I'm working on for either a layout for myself. I don't have a track plan yet, but I'm still working on it. But I'm also working on a lot of stuff for either club modules or for stuff for a buddy who's got a brand new layout that he's building in his basement, which is great, but he just doesn't have the time to build everything at the same time. So he's got has to recruit other folks to give him a hand on certain things. So I said, I'll help you with structures. So been helping him out too.
Yeah,
That's great.
I think it was Joel said they were the donuts. We're the donuts for you. whatever that means. But anyway, if anybody's got any questions you want to ask Mike about.
I do. Claude, you said he's narrow gauge as well, so he's HO and HON3 just like you?
Mike?
Yeah, so I started out, I move around a little bit. I started out doing a lot of Pennsylvania Railroad narrow gauge. I mean Pennsylvania Railroad, but then I started doing some narrow gauge as well. So the Pennsy stuff is kind of collecting dust at this point. As a matter of fact, a couple of the Pennsylvania Railroad scratch builds that I did, I actually gave away as prizes for contests to a couple of viewers on my channel, because I thought, well, they sat and watched me build it and might as well give it away. And it was something that I probably wasn't going to actually put on. So every Wednesday at 9 o'clock my time, 7 o'clock Eastern, I have a show that I do, and the guys that were in there on a regular basis were all there, and I signed them up for the giveaway. So I've done, I think, 2 of those already, and I also did a giveaway within my Model Railroad Club as well. So,
well, that's how I
Sweet.
found you, Mike. Was one of the guys that had won one of the contests was showing what you had sent him, and I was pretty impressed with what you sent him, and so I went out and checked your channel out, and that's how I found you, and then found out, yeah, you're a pretty good modeler. So,
well, thank you. I appreciate that.
But I
just
also,
want to quickly
go ahead.
we've actually now got 42 people watching. 42.
Oh,
We have 42 people watching. Also, we had a question here from Human City Junction. He said, Mike, have you done any scratch building of any wagons?
I don't know if he's watched my channel. He's probably has seen my channel, and that's meant to be a joke. If not, probably for my buddy, I've probably done 24 wagons already, and the main guy that we're getting wagons from is Berkshire Valley Models, and he's coming out with a 6th kind of wagon, and my buddy is like a kid in a candy store, so he's gonna probably order 10 of those, which means every time they come out with a new wagon, I fall further behind in the queue. So yeah, I've done a few wagons just in the last 8 weeks.
Yeah, Human was in there the other night when we were having such a good time while you were working on your wagons. But I'll put the link up there to the Berkshire Valley Models, and you see the wagons right there on that first page. You also do a lot of Bill Banta kits, and I know you've talked to Bill quite a bit about his kits and you know how they go together and what you think can be improved and stuff like that.
Every time I build a kit, I take notes. I write on the instructions, and if I decide to build it again, like for a customer or somebody, I have it in front of me, and I can go, oh, you know what? I remember this window didn't fit very well. So I just write notes and stuff to myself, and I keep all the instructions. I mean, it doesn't take that much space. And I give feedback to manufacturer and whether they want it or not. So if I've built one already, and like for Bill, the first one I did was the Silver Plume Bakery, and he's like, this is great. If you send me, feedback, then I think this is fantastic. Just keep doing it. I'm like, you got it. I'll send it every single time. Yeah,
I had a similar thing go with the manufacturer of the touch toggles for the turnout motors. I was trying to overcome a problem with a third-party apparatus to work one of my remote switches, and he actually called me, and we had an hour conversation. He told me how to wire it up and stuff, and wanted pictures and stuff to put on his stuff after that. So yeah, we can be, a good source of information for manufacturers of products for your model railroad.
Yeah, most definitely. And matter of fact, even some of the periphery stuff, like I was trying to get a hold of I want to scratch build. I've built everything advanced junction right now. So I want to add the cold pocket. Well, you can find a kit on eBay for like $300. So I'm like, I'm not going to spend $300 on that kit and get into a bidding war. So instead, I got a plan from Mike Blazek. Well, he actually called me on Christmas Eve, and I think what Mike Blazek has done for the hobby for the narrow gaugers is fantastic. Look at all the stuff in the Rio Grande Southern storybooks, the drawings and stuff that are in there. They wouldn't be in there if he didn't do what he did. So, yeah, even some of those guys.
Yeah. I lost my train of thought. I had a question. I had a question I was going to ask you, and I forgot what it was now.
Well, my first one led into something, Claude.
Sure.
I wanted to know. I asked about the narrow gauge and his HO. So your new layout, your plans are to be HO for the new one?
I would like the opportunity to run some standard gauge stuff for DCC, since everything I have is DCC. I just don't think it's realistic.
So you're not going to do any dual gauge on it then? Probably
Probably not any at all. Yeah. So if I do, it'll be a little spot somewhere, like a test loop or something. But that's it. That would be it.
Yeah, you're more. Well, from what I know too, Brian, of what Mike's doing, he's more into the prototype. All the buildings that he's built so far for the Ophir Loop, which is very famous on the Rio Grande Southern line. He's done all the buildings in that loop from the old pictures, which I'm not doing that sort of thing. Mine's a freelance, setup based on the narrow gauge in Colorado. I wanted to be free to put in what I wanted to put in, and when you do the historical part, you kind of make that choice, don't you, Mike?
We got 50.
50. Oh, did we? Oh, we did, didn't we? All right. But you make that decision if you're going to go full prototype to pretty much try and stay in the full prototype, because if you don't, then somebody's going to come along and really beat you up on it.
Yeah, and I've got a couple of kits and things that I kind of like to work in, but I don't want to pollute any of the scenes that I've already planned. So I'm thinking of maybe getting like an engine and a couple of cars and just doing a little freelance branch. I can throw a couple of logging cars in there and, kit bash some kits that I want. So, but that's pretty far off. That started with a MDC engine that I found. I got on eBay and it was mostly there. The boiler wasn't there. So we'll see.
Did we have any more questions off the chat?
Not that I can see at the moment. Everyone's all commenting on the fact that we hit 50. Sorry, Brian, I spoke over you then.
No. Go ahead, Ally.
One question I did have. Sorry, Claude.
Go ahead.
One question I did have for Mike was, if you haven't got a layout yourself at the moment, what do you do to run trains? What's your fix, I guess, when you need to get out there and operate something?
So that's why I joined a narrow gauge club in town. So that was the purpose of that. So if I need to run stuff, I can either go to an event at one of the other club members, or I can wait for the modules to all be set up. So our last show, and it'll probably be a while till the next show, our last show was a whole bunch of modules, about average or three or 4 feet pieces, was a 40-foot by 40-foot square area with 2 return loops at each end. And it had a couple of little spurs that went off of it, and it filled that entire area. So I can get it fixed that way too, and that's an all-weekend thing. So Friday we can run trains on our own, and then the show is until Saturday and Sunday. So,
Mike, do you have any of your models there on your bench that you can show us?
I have some Ophir Loop stuff.
Oh, please.
So since the Banta kits are pretty predominant in the Ophir Loop area, and one of them got re-engineered, this one is the Oilton Club Saloon. So this is actually the only structure that still exists in the area. They actually leveled the area, and this has actually been converted into a residence. So this is a kit from Bill, and it's been re-engineered. So this went together really well, and I had a lot of fun putting this together. It's got kind of a metallic roof panels that run kind of up and down. But a bunch of his kits, once you build them, you're kind of done. But this one's actually pretty easy to build so that you can detail the interior. So somebody at my in my group asked me if I was going to detail the interior, and I said I have too many exteriors to complete to worry about interiors. So I don't see that happening. And then the newest one is this one. This is the house that sits at the end of the trestle.
Yeah, that was an interesting building there.
Yeah, so this is actually started out as a shed. It's got a metallic corrugated roof on the back that I added, or I modified the roof from the plan, and then it's got just metal panels on the top. However, I haven't completed this. I was going to do this like a how-to video, but originally when this was a shed, there was a garage door on this front piece right here. This window wasn't here. So this was a garage door and they could pull vehicles into it. Well, over time, they turned it into a structure. However, depending on what era I want to model, I want to decide how this looks. So I'm in the process of building a garage door that fits over this window and with a metal panel on the backside. But right here, I've embedded a rare earth magnet. So all I got to do is put a metal panel on the backside of it, and it'll just snap in place right on here. I don't have anything metallic, I don't think, close by. But so yeah, it's too heavy. Anyway, I can. Yeah, I don't have anything that's metallic. So anyway, there's a magnet buried right here, and I'm just gonna be able to take a garage door with metal on the back and just slap it on the front, and then I can say, okay, this is like 1939 or earlier.
That's a good idea.
I just wanted to point out that a lot of people here in the messenger are really, really praising your work, Mike. They think it's fantastic. They say you do great work, great buildings. Yeah, they're just complimenting your work.
Cool, I appreciate that. I mean, that means a lot. I mean, it's always nice to sit and put something out, but it's nice to get the positive feedback too, especially from people that are maybe getting into it or moving into a gauge that they haven't considered in the past. So, I mean, I got influenced by a lot of fantastic modelers in the past. So, I appreciate the compliments.
Well, and I'm going to credit you with pushing us over the 50 limit. We've been close before, but never quite got there, and we just flew right on by it this morning.
54.
Hey, we hit 50. Are you serious?
Yes.
I'm sorry. I'm having huge internet issues this morning.
Yeah, we got over 50.
54, 53, 54.
Wow. No,
we've been up to 57.
I missed basically everything. So I'm getting garbled stuff. But I hear 50. That is awesome.
Yeah.
Thumbs up to everybody. That's crazy.
Well, another thing I was going to ask you about, Mike, to kind of explain was, when you said the Pensy stuff was in mothballs, I saw John cringe just a little bit because I know he's back east and is not. I don't know if yours is based on the Pennsylvania, or something around there. I'm sure it's a short line or something around there, isn't it, John? Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I thought I saw you cringe when Mike said that. Well, how did you get modeling to Pennsylvania, Mike?
I was probably about 10 years old, and I had gotten a Christmas present of 5 Pennsylvania Railroad passenger cars, and that did it. I was done. I ran those things, I ran the wheels off those things. I still have every one of them. It was the best Christmas present that I had. Ever since then, I've got lots of books on Pensy stuff, and I got some DCC equipment. I built the coaling tower from Walters as a project on the channel. I've got a bunch of stuff. For a while, I was building stuff for narrow gauge and Pensy at the same time. So I was like, oh, I'm just going to build the interchange where the two railroads met. And I'm like, no, they met. It was about 1,500 miles apart. So that's not happening. So it started with just a Christmas present, just a gift that I had. So thanks, Mom.
Yeah, I can still remember my first Lionel set, and I vividly remember putting stuff under the track, and of course it would go up and then back down. But it was something different than just going in a circle. So that's kind of where I started with the train, and then before that, my dad took me to a Pomona County fairgrounds, and they had a big club layout there that I was just in awe of it at 5 or 6 years old. But that's how I got started on it. Any other questions for Mike?
Yeah, I'm just going through now trying to find some questions, but I think mostly people are just chatting to each other on here.
Yeah.
Someone was talking about
Norman,
Well, Mike,
Norman
you're
says
in
I'm
Denver,
late to
right?
the party. Norman, I've been here since. What time did we get on here this morning?
Oh, it's been a couple of hours ago.
Yeah. No, I'm here. I just having huge Colonel Murphy technical internet crap this morning. So I'm gonna have to go back and watch the replay because I missed almost everything you said, Mike. I just haven't heard many things, so I changed some things around. So thank you for being here. I really appreciate that. And we hit 50. How did we do that? How did we do that?
I don't know.
I guess we're gonna have to get that. We're gonna have to get that RC out now.
Well, what we're going to do is we're going to announce more about the contest after the intermission, and because we're ironing out a few details, our contest coordinator is not with us today. So we are now processing information electronically through the airwaves to ensure that we have the contest specifics correct before we launch it. And but that is in the works right now. We want to thank everybody for being here. We want to thank Michael for being here and doing such a fantastic job. We do have a video that is kind of highlighting Michael's, or is it Mike? I'm sorry, Mike. I didn't mean to call you Michael. We're highlighting his latest work. John, you want to roll that? All right. Everybody, this is Mike's latest work. After the show today, I hope you'll return over to his channel and leave a comment about this. Watch it in its entirety.
Hey guys, welcome back. My name is Michael McCarville, and this is episode 94. We're going to go through another kit from Wild West Scale Model Builders. They can be found at www.wildwestmodels.com. This is called Zeke's Cabin. This is number 226 for the HO version. The instructions of this kit are really well laid out, like some of the previous kits that we've already done from this company. And this video is basically to kind of give you different angles or different viewpoints. The instructions are actually really good. They're really well laid out. They're actually really well known for their instructions. So you won't have any problems with that. But in case you're looking for a different angle or maybe a different option that we chose. So what we're going to do on this one is we're going to actually flip the extension of the building to the other side, just so you can kind of see what it looks like if it were to be on the other side. You have some options on how you want to arrange the walls and windows and stuff. So that gives you a different view. There's actually a couple different, I think there's 6 different variants to how you lay out the walls. But anyway, real quick, the information will be put in the body of the YouTube video as far as kind of the materials we use. It's very similar to the previous kit, but this is going to be this is actually a really good kit if you are new to Craftsman style kits. I would take a look at this one. This would be a great starter kit. Other than that, it's going to be a addition to a layout that is looking for a bunch of minor type cabins, and that's what we're going to build it as. Other than that, I'm going to just give a picture of the contents, overview of the parts, and then every single step in the kit I'm going to go through and picture it so you can follow along. So enough talk, let's get to the kit. We're going to do it step by step. Okay guys, that's going to be it for the kit. I want to thank Wild West Models for allowing me to feature this kit in our video series. Once again, thanks to you guys for watching and giving me some of your time. And other than that, I will see you guys on the next show. Take care and happy modeling. Thanks, guys.
Exactly. That's fantastic. I watched that first thing when I got up this morning. Michael, why don't you tell us anything that you want to about that video while it's fresh in the viewer's head? And then we're going to go talk about the contest as well as the other streams and announcements and all that stuff. But first and foremost, tell us about that's Zeke's cabin, right?
Yeah, so that's Wild West Scale Model Builders. It's a wildwestmodels.com is the location. It's got, I think, 4 different scales it comes in. I haven't met the owner, but I've traded about 1,000 emails with him lately. And I've just started working on kits from that because those are actually non-prototypical. So I've been building those for a individual that's building out his layout. So that said, I did pick up one of them that's in the Rico area. So that one is going to stay on my own layout. That's a keeper. So other than that, I think the biggest thing about that kit is it would be a really good first project for somebody who wants to get into a Craftsman kit.
There's also a question here from one of the members in chat here. They're asking, do you weather your buildings when you place them? Or do you weather them before you?
I weather everything before I place them.
Okay.
And Mike, I don't know if you saw this question. It was just before we went to the intermission. Somebody asked what, and I'm sorry, I forgot who it was, but they asked what your most useful tool that you use is for.
Yeah,
for
so that one is probably my reading glasses. I don't use reading glasses, but that allowed me to get into a lot tighter detail. So.
Oh, I hadn't thought about using them for that, but I guess it would work, wouldn't it? And somebody else asked if you scratch build, but I think you answered that in the chat.
Yeah, most of the stuff that I'm doing has not been scratch build. It's been kits, just because they're already available to me for like the O for Loop area. I mean, every structure in that area is already available as a kit, so I'm not going to scratch build it. There's going to be enough stuff that I have to scratch build that I don't have to, you know, but like as I get all the kits in an area built out, there's a couple of houses up on the hill, you know, for that I could build. All of those will be scratch builds.
Yeah. And Sparky's asking, why is it fun with fallen flags when that references companies that no longer exist?
Yeah, well, Pennsylvania Railroad, they don't exist.
Yep.
They got swallowed up. Rio Grande Southern, there's nothing left of them. So, yeah, it was originally to feature railroads and mostly Pennsylvania Railroad stuff that I was working on. But that being said, every once in a while, I'll go out and take pictures of BNSF stuff. So every once in a while, I get a note. It's like, hey, that's not a fallen flag. I'm like, yeah, I know. I had to create a name.
Combined flags.
Yeah. Railroadflags.com. I'm sure that one's taken.
Yeah, I kind of miss. I remember the passenger trains when all the railroad companies had their own passenger trains, and actually got to ride on one as a kid. So, yeah, I kind of miss that. They were pretty cool to ride on, even though I was a kid and just in awe. I remember my grandparents used to take Santa Fe from Southern California to Texas to see relatives because my grandmother would
Santa Fe's the best. Santa Fe's the best.
Yeah, Santa Fe all the way is what my grandfather used to say all the time.
Yeah.
55 in the stream.
Let's talk about that. Y'all want to have a contest?
Yeah, let's do that.
I think so. We've got an RS.
Yeah.
Have you? Were you going to do that on this one, or were you just going to?
I think we can, y'all. I would be amiss. I would love to invite everybody back next week, but I don't know if that's fair. So, what we're going to do is we got an N-scale Kato Loco. We have an HO scale boxcar that's going to be custom painted by our very own Joe G, from what I understand. And so we have a prize for N-scale, and we have a prize for HO scale. Michael, do you have a way to message Claude right now? Can you send Claude a message real quick with your phone or something?
Yeah, I can do that.
Send Claude a number between 1 and 55.
Oh.
And we're going to do it Sparky style, everybody. Once I say start, and look, John knows numbers, so you can't cheat here. John knows numbers. All right. So, John's going to put started. I told y'all he's good at this, y'all. All right. So, as soon as Claude says go, we will let John know, and John will go, and then y'all can go crazy like you do. Sparky taught us how to do this.
Already. You ready? Go.
Did you get it, Claude?
Yeah. Yeah, I got it.
And then you may begin.
Go.
So did I let you know as soon as somebody comes up with it?
Well, what we're going to do, Make sure we're getting the N or the HO before that, ladies and gentlemen. Make sure we have an N or an HO. Claude's going to have to see N or HO before that number so he knows.
I've never seen chat go by
Oh,
that
geez.
fast.
Look at that.
Really?
Yeah.
Holy crap.
Ladies and gentlemen, make sure
Wow.
we distinguish between our scale for Claude.
I
Claude
saw one,
is
but it didn't
smart,
have an HO or
sharp.
N in front of it.
Claude is dual gauge, but Claude cannot predict whether you meant to say N or HO. You need to let us know.
Yeah, I saw the number, but they didn't have the HO or N in front of it.
I've seen it
Mhm.
twice. No letter.
All right, here's a hint. You have put the number out there without your HO or N behind it, so you have a hint.
Well, it's hard.
Yeah, differentiate between those.
Gravy, it's going by fast.
I can't read that fast.
That is way too fast.
Oh my God.
Oh,
You guys are awesome.
Okay, the
yeah.
letters are coming in now.
Okay, here we go. Come
Oh,
on.
yeah, good.
Hints. I keep looking. Oh man, now
you
it's
seen
split
it?
up again.
Let's see what Almar HO8, Ken Amos HO5, David Piper HO27, Joe Rader HO50. Oh, can't do it. Nope, I can't read it. I tried.
You've got to be like one of those
Oh man.
house auctioneers or something, you know?
Okay, I saw. Okay, I saw HO.
All right, everybody. Claude has seen HO. HO. Convert your guesses to N now because Claude has verified HO for sure. You can give one to your N scale buddies. I know one.
Are
His
we
name
doing?
is
Are we
Ryan.
doing the same number for both scales?
Yeah, might as well.
Okay.
We didn't plan otherwise. So.
Okay, I see who it is.
We got them.
For HO.
All right. HO's down. Everybody convert your guesses to N. If you're an HO guy, you can donate to the Iron Horse Route.
He needs a new cat cable. He's got to go to Walmart and get a cat cable.
Oh, Dave BNFSN scales guessing. You know what? He's trouble. He's good at this, y'all. Dave wins like 4 out of 8 of these.
Oh, I see the N scale.
All right, we good. All right, everybody.
There was an N scale earlier.
Was there?
Yeah.
Who did
All right.
this?
Well, there's a verification process we will undergo. So we will announce next
I have
week.
to announce next week.
And Michael, while we're settling from the stream, why don't you tell us about your regular uploads and your Facebook stuff and your live stream schedule before I go into the community stuff? Tell us about all your upload schedules and stuff.
Okay, so my upload, so I do a live stream on Wednesday night at 7 o'clock my time and 9 o'clock Eastern. And other than that, I pretty much shotgun stuff in there. I don't really have a regular release schedule because it's based on how complex the kit is. So I don't hold anything back. Like last night, I completed a kit, so I built a video, uploaded it, and I went to bed. So, so whenever it happens to get done. I have a HO Scale Tutorials Facebook group, which is just basically how to do certain completions, whether you're doing wiring or modeling or DCC or anything. A lot of it happens to be builds. Other than that, there's a YouTube channel that I put everything into as well. And that doesn't have a nice, easy name. It's kind of long. So other than that, I do mostly stuff for myself. However, lately I've been put to work building out stuff for some other folks too. So
Very good. Very good. Well, each week we have all kind of stuff going on in our model railroad community. As a matter of fact, we got live streams every day, all day lately. But our recurring live streams are just Nate. That's Monday at 7 p.m. Eastern. Then we've got Tom's Trains and Things at 8 p.m. Eastern. On Tuesday, we got On Track Tuesday. I think this week is Cricket Dave, and then we got Creative Benny, or is it the other way around, John? Okay, Creative Benny this week, then Cricket Dave, and then we would go back to Uncle Wilmer and then Hot Rod Rodney again, unless there's an extra 5th Tuesday in there, which I can figure. All right, Cricket Dave, all right, this Tuesday. And then we got Sparky at 7 Eastern and Michael at 9 Eastern on Wednesday. On Thursday, we have Hot Rod Rodney. On Friday, we got Cousin Benny at 10 a.m. We got us on Saturday morning, and on Sunday evening, Nora. And then Real Wicked Canadian is going on I think he went on Friday evening real late, and maybe sometime Saturday evening real late. And then you've got Not Bad Wilmer, Uncle Wilmer's Not Bad on Mondays that come out. You got Roy S's and Panama's Dispatch on Tuesday that comes out. On the second Wednesday, you got the Community Roundhouse each month. And am I forgetting anything?
Well, yeah, Roy's also got a layout update on Saturdays as he can. He tries to.
Roy S. Layout update on Saturdays. And Roy H. does live streams impromptu when he's somewhere cool driving.
Yeah,
and
we also do an impromptu trackside beans too, man. You guys got to join that when we do it because it's a lot of fun. Get a lot of layout work done.
I forgot somebody.
Real Wicked Canadian just changed his channel name to RWC Toyman.
Okay. All right. RWC Toyman. Wasn't it close to this, something like that before?
It used to be 2448 Toyman, but that channel's been stolen.
Yeah. Gotcha. I got you. All right.
Well, I had another question for Mike that he's probably not going to be expecting. Steve's been building all these trees for his layout, as you can see in the background of his camera shot there. Have you been building any trees or anything, Mike?
Nope. Not even close.
Well, I was telling Steve I was going to fly him out here for a couple of months to populate mine. Since he's on a roll, he doesn't seem to want to stop making trees.
You can dream about it.
Who's making trees? I'm not making trees. I don't think about trees.
You can never make enough is the problem. Like, it's a beast that you can never
I'm over
300
trees. I'm out of control.
I'll do 30 in a night, and it looks like I did nothing, and I'm like laying down exhausted, and
I've got 12 more in the bullpen. It's like
Well, Mike, do you have any techniques for making trees?
I haven't made trees in years, so no.
I'm dreading it on mine because you've seen my layout. I've got a pretty good area to cover, much bigger than what Steve's doing. 300 trees on mine won't look like I did anything.
Yeah.
But I'm trying not to think about it because I'll get depressed if I do.
Yeah, I agree.
Claude, you're going to fly me out for 3 months. You told me you're going to put me up. You're going to wine and dine me, and I'm making trees for 3 months. I can do that.
It'd probably be cheaper to do that than to buy them. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Norman Rowe's got a great one for you. Hashtag Steve loves trees.
Happy trees. I've got happy trees and happy clouds. Actually,
Happy little.
that backdrop came from Claude. That was so cool. And then it's like it takes more trees.
Well, then you fixed up the air conditioner. You didn't show them that.
Oh, you don't like that?
Are you saving that?
I'm not saving it. I can turn it on. It's a hardboard backdrop that hides the air conditioner.
Right.
Isn't that nice?
You did a good job of that.
I think he did a fantastic job of that.
Yeah.
That's excellent.
It
You like the air
matches so
conditioner,
well.
right?
We were picking on them yesterday, trying to get them to put smokestacks and stuff out of the top of it, like a factory.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you know, the really bad thing, and Claude and I were talking about this a couple mornings ago, when I was doing that while we were talking, he said, "Did you, when you cut out because I laid the backdrop in and cut out the hole for the air conditioner because it goes outside. Well, did you save the piece that went in there?" And it's like, no. It's like a crumbling ball. It's like, okay. So it
That
is
is
what it is.
definitely something I would have done.
I was just concerned because I had everything out and I'm climbing on the layout trying to get that backdrop that he sent me up without wrecking it. You know, so saving the space for the hole was not on my list. We'll make it work.
We have any more questions for Mike? I haven't been looking
I
at
do.
the chat.
If they're out, Mike lives in the area that I model, and so I'm always fishing for information. The day that we met, I think, Michael, was on one of your live streams, and I found out you lived in Denver. You know, I model the line between Denver and Winter Park, and you've been on that, right?
Yeah. I've actually written that, and that's a good place to. There's a few places that you can go that you can take some great photos too. So I've ridden that a couple times.
Yeah, you were telling me some stories about that area and stuff on your first live stream that I attended. I remember that.
Yeah, I took an Amtrak. I took a ski train up one time. I went to Glenwood Springs one time. The Glenwood Springs trip probably took 2 hours. I don't know, 2 or 3 hours to get there, and then 8 hours to come back because they kept putting us on a siding so that they could get the coal freight going through because they weren't making any money on the passenger freight. So they were making all their money on the coal freight. So we sit on sidings on the way back. I think it took us 8 hours to get home when it took us 3 hours to get there. So it was awful.
Yeah, they don't advertise that.
Yeah. Why?
No, that wouldn't be a selling point.
Well,
Of course,
one of the things,
you could be in worse places than the mountains, in my opinion. But you know.
True.
well, one of the things about that line that I think is really cool is the initial Moffett Road that went over the divide there before they made the tunnel. You know, what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah. And that was switchbacks too, wasn't it?
If I'm not mistaken.
You can actually drive that still. It's actually a good jeeping trail. I wouldn't take it in a car, but I've actually found railroad spikes that's worked its way up out of the ground through like freeze and thaw. And I actually have a couple of them on the shelf. I'd be jeeping along and I'd just be driving slow and I'd see something on the ground and my wife's like, "Why are we stopping again?" I'm like, "Another railroad spike." So I picked them up, kept putting them in the Jeep.
Yeah.
That's great. Well, one of the things is, you know, I'm in scale, and what I was thinking is that, you know, way down the line when I'm done almost is I could actually have a Z-scale line that comes off where the tunnel is, you know, and go up over the divide there in my model I was thinking about, and have like a Z-scale model come off of my end there with and go over an area that and model like that little Moffett Road area. I mean, all my stuff will be proto-free anyway. I mean, it won't even be nearly prototype, but that was a thought.
Yeah, there
Well,
was.
if you model a narrow gauge in N-scale, the N3 would be the Z-scale track, if I'm not mistaken.
Correct. Yep. And I did NN3 for a while, and then most of the stuff that you do for NN3, you use a Z-scale mechanism, and then you can put parts on top of that, and and scratch built engines. So yeah, Z-scale
Like
track.
scale.
That's getting too small for me.
Yeah.
The narrow gauge, HO narrow gauge is small enough.
Amen.
And the older I get,
That's why
the harder it is to do it. So.
That's why you got to have these.
Mhm.
Oh, well, it's not the seeing it, it's the handling it with the arthritic fingers is what the problem is.
Yeah, fat fingers.
Yeah, it's just like my helix, the mountain that my helix is in, and I made it to be able to get inside and work on it. And I had to get in there yesterday. I had to go in there 3 times. And I found out real quick that that's only going to happen when I have a derailment in there. I've never been there actually doing anything but retrieving trains, because it's just too hard on me anymore to do that on a regular basis. But yeah, the working just in general with the small stuff, and I found out, spiking the rails myself, doing the hand spiking and stuff. As much as I like it, it makes my hands tired at the end of the night. My right hand especially, which I've always worked with my hands in construction, so they're worn out anyway. And then I get in there and try to do that fine detail stuff, and boy, the arthritis just lets me know about it later in the evening and the next morning. But do you have any problems with that, Mike?
Not really. But I think that based on just family history of folks that I've, that are like my grandmother, she had arthritis really bad. So I try not to do stuff that I think if I can do flex track, I'll use flex track mostly because just it's expedient. And I try to keep everything as consistent as possible. Like I'll only use, I don't want to interchange a bunch of different types of track and a bunch of rail. I don't want to interchange a bunch of different trucks and couplers. I'll try to keep it Katy couplers, keep it all Blackstone trucks, even though it's more expensive. I mean, there's a reason why you have, derailments and couplers that come undone and everything else. So I try to do a lot of consistency. And a lot of this is based on previous HO and N-scale layouts that I built when I didn't do that. So I'd see a couple of mismatches, and I could see why. A couple different manufacturers don't mesh up very well, don't hit the NMRA standards very well. So
I see another question on here for you, Mike. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah.
Ellie?
I was just going to say the same thing, Claude. RD&T, Mike, when building structures, are there any different techniques used for smaller scales, because he models N scale?
Probably a couple of things would be don't mess with an X-Acto blade that you get out for a new project. Use a sharp blade. Don't try to fuss with it. There's a glue looper that you can use for super glue, so you don't get a big flow of super glue on it. It's basically looks like an X-Acto blade, but it has a little loop at the end, and you can put a little dot of super glue on it and then use that to attach pieces with. Just finer tools, smaller blades and smaller screwdrivers. Just downsize everything that you've got. You don't need to, not everything's a nail and not everything's a hammer. use the smallest stuff.
Yeah. Well, that's true about not everything's a nail and not everything's a hammer. There's different ways of putting stuff together than what you might think sometimes. And different glues. I'm not even super glue, but some of the softer glues that don't set up hard I've used before, just because they had a longer set time. But they were tacky, so they would hold together, but you still had a chance to move that if you needed to. Because super glue, once that sets, you're pretty much there unless you break it apart somehow. And with a wood kit, it's tough to do that.
Oh, I can imagine. Michael, when are we gonna see track laid in your area over there? When you gonna start putting some track down?
In the future. I got nothing for you. I'm still building kits, and my buddy keeps flooding me with kits to build too. And since that's a revenue source, he gets a lot of attention.
I bet.
I've got an area for staging and a loop. a return loop in the room right behind me, and that got built out. That was actually a video of how I rebuilt the storage area that we have, because we had some water damage in there, and that all got torn out and then got rebuilt. So I've got a nice platform, but right now it's just storing completed kits and stuff. So like I said, I don't really have a good track plan, and I've got one kid moving out soon. She's out of college, so she's moving out into an apartment soon after this whole virus thing is over. And at that point, the basement is completely vacant, and I can pretty much take it over. So I'm kind of waiting for that too. So that way I have completely blank canvas.
Much to come then.
Yeah,
Yeah.
hopefully.
At some point. At some point.
Yeah.
That's what I was wondering. I didn't know. I wasn't 100% what kind of space you had coming available to you. And so it sounds like at some point you're going to, how big's your basement?
It's probably, this room right here, I think is 11 or 12 feet, and it goes 24 feet that way. And it's all lit, carpeted, and drywalled. And so the room is completely done. I would have to, you can see there's a bookcase behind me. That's going to have a tunnel portal in it. So I'll punch a hole from this room, goes around and out into the other room. But and then I'll run track across the top of here. So other than that, I'll have a staging area, pass through here, and then that entire room. So it's probably, I don't know, 18 feet by 12 feet, but then there's some weird pop-out areas that are off of that. One pop-out area is 8 by 8, and that's going to be over loop. I already know where over loop's going, because nothing else would make sense there for it to go completely in, unless I want to make, you know, a helix bigger than Sparky's.
Mm.
There is one. It's O gauge.
Well, see, you said that you had nothing for me, and that was a fantastic answer that told me exactly what I was asking. I have the picture in my head now. I know what's coming. I know what's going on. Michael, we want to thank you so much for coming on the show with us today. We appreciate it, man.
Yes, sir. Thank you for coming on, Mike.
Thanks, you guys. I appreciate it. It's a lot of fun to be here.
And, you know, thanks to everybody for coming in chat. Golly, we had a lot of folks in today. Had a lot of fun.
Hey, Brian, before we go, I want to make sure, because I go back to Chuck, CDP 1965. He mentioned, don't forget Sparky's Grow Your Channel video. Check that out, because you need to go do that. Because I found a lot of channels that I thought I was subscribed to and I wasn't. And it's an incredible way to grow the community. So I think Sparky said he's going to do part 3 after our live stream. So I really encourage you guys to go check it out.
So Steve, tell them what you're talking about.
Well, Sparky did a 2-part thing a couple days ago about how to, you know, grow people's channels, because you can't go to the live streams and click on their name anymore. YouTube changed that. You used to be able to click on their name, go to their channel, and subscribe. You can't do that now. So now you're going to have to go kind of backdoor to, you know, through the chat and check them out and like their videos and subscribe to them, because you're just going to have to watch it. I can't really explain it. Sparky probably could, but the best thing you can do is just go to YouTube, and you know, he's got part 1 and part 2, and I think he said part 3 is going to be this morning. So I think you just need to check it out.
Yeah.
Brian, did you also want to talk about next week being our 20th episode?
Next week's the 20th episode, everybody.
Thank you, Brian.
You're right,
Well, you know, like, okay, look, Uncle Wilmer's got the 100th episode coming up, right? For Not Bad. Well, he's not telling us a whole lot about that. So the 20th episode's coming up. I'm not going to tell him a whole lot about it, except for that that's what it is.
Yeah, and it may be 2 hours. I don't know,
Yeah.
but it's
Well, and-
possible it could be a long one.
Well, what it's going to be is we're going to put Steve up on the main screen, and we're going to all fire questions at him for 2 hours.
Oh, yeah. There you go. Yeah, I can do that. But no, I know what it's going to be. You don't want to fire questions at me for 2 hours because you're going to get bored really quick.
He's not lying. Trust me.
I'm not lying. Yeah. God knows.
I've spent 4 hours with him online.
Yeah.
I think we did 5.5.
Yeah.
I think that was the longest. I mean, that was a crazy beans.
Tracks on beans.
Were you there, Allie, when we did that? It was like.
I think we did a 7-hour one. I think there was a 7-hour one.
Yeah.
We got,
it was
we
long.
got a lot of work done on the layout.
And a lot of nonsense as well.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
More nonsense than working, actually.
Yeah, and we all have nicknames. So now we're gonna have to come up with you. You've got one for everybody else. So you get.
Well, and before we go, we got to thank John, everybody, because we were able to stream today because John was willing to come on and help us out. Again, Shannon's having some technical difficulties, and it's going to be a couple weeks before he's going to be back with us. And so John's kind of filling in, and he's joined the team with us, and we really, really want to thank him for his time. John's a really busy guy this time of year, and so he is doing a lot for us right now by sitting in, and we do appreciate you, John. Thank you so much.
Yes, Sean. Thank you very much.
Oh, it was my pleasure,
Thank you,
guys, and a
John.
lot of fun. I didn't want to see this show die because of technical problems.
Yeah. So, and as Allie pointed out, 20th episode is next Saturday. We want to encourage everybody to come back. We might have more of an open format where we don't have a guest and we have all you people that like to come each Saturday, just come jump in. We can have up to 12 of us in here, I think. We're going to probably put out a video this week on the Back on Track channel to let y'all know more about what's going to happen Saturday, okay?
I can't wait.
Then we will be announcing the
I'm looking forward.
contest winners as well on the
Yes.
20th episode.
Yes.
You throwing
Thank
John
you
under the
again,
bus
Mike.
there?
Thanks, everybody. Y'all have a great weekend.
Take care,
Thank you,
guys.
Mike.
Thank you.
Great. Thank
Take
you.
care, everybody.
Bye-bye.